This is the desert version of a God simulator. Create a desert ecosystem using an oversized fish tank. You will play as God to create a dust storm, rainfall and other climates. In 100 days, let this desert thrive. On the first day, you create the world. Add sand and other rocky materials to the fish tank. Next, plant cacti and other plants in the sand. If you accidentally get pricked by a cactus, you must go to the hospital in time. Otherwise, the wound is at risk of healing at any time. After a series of operations, your desert world is also created. On the third day, your world welcomed its first batch of small animals. I wonder if everyone knows about this, that the usual name is watermelon bug. Next, add the Mexican jumping beans and water buffalo beetles. These scavenger animals, they will eat everything that can be eaten. But good times don't last long. After all, this is a world of survival of the fittest. In the end, they will all face the pursuit of the top predators. Whoever survives until the end is the true champion. It is now the 50th day. After 47 days of development, the team of zebra watermelon bugs is continuously growing. The clown watermelon bugs have already decreased by more than half. It is very likely extinct. At this time, the water buffalo beetles are also in a state of play. If there are animal bodies in the tank, the water buffalo beetles gather en masse. In the blink of an eye, it has turned into a barren landscape. As the god, you realize the seriousness of the problem, because the water buffalo beetles have no natural enemies. At this moment, you are finally going to introduce a new species, the top predator in the desert, the dune scorpion. Be careful with your palms when picking up the scorpion. The venom at its tail can easily take down any animal, including you as God. 2.5 minutes have just passed. The dune scorpion has just taken down a water buffalo beetle. After having eaten and drunk enough, he starts looking for a place to dig a hole. In just a few minutes, the dune scorpion has already vanished without a trace. Not a trace of the scorpion can be found in any corner of the desert. As the camera moves downwards, only then did I see the scorpion. During the day, this guy won't go out. Only when night falls, only then will he come out to be active, under the UV rays. The little scorpion is displaying a bluish color. It is now day 60. The breeding speed of the water buffalo beetle far exceeds imagination. One scorpion is too busy to handle. At this moment, you decide to introduce a new species, the blue beetle. These are not ordinary bugs. Their shells can secrete a white powder. These powders all have sun protection properties. They can not only provide sun protection, moreover, their abdomens can store a large amount of water. They can survive for a long time even in the arid desert. And their armor is extremely sturdy, but also withstand the attacks from predators. It can also withstand dust storms. In less than 2.5 minutes, among them is a bold fellow. He strides with a reckless disregard for everything around him, inadvertently entering the scorpion's lair. "What are you doing, bro?" "I'm just wandering around." The bold one even took a shot at the scorpion. He might think this guy is much bigger than himself. Not to be messed with, he turned and walked away. Fortunately, it's daytime. If it were night, he might not be able to leave even if he wants to. The desert has been dry for a long time. Night falls. As God, tonight, let's bring a storm to the arid desert. After a storm, the rainfall has brought new vitality to the land. The animals also came out to stretch their muscles. The roses in the midst have blossomed after being nourished by the rainfall. The leaves have unfurled. It is now day 63. The pond is filled with hundreds of tiny white dots. They begin to hatch. They will evolve again later. It is likely to become the ruler of this water area. As God, at this moment, a new batch of organisms was introduced. Mexican jumping bean. I thought these were some seeds. But in the scorching desert, they actually started to jump. The jumping is to find a place to escape the sunlight. The reason they jump, it's because each Mexican jumping bean contains. Each of them has a caterpillar. In the near future, they will turn into moths. It's now day 72. Life in the water has developed. They are called fairy shrimp. Their food is the plankton in the water. They will never miss anything that can be food in the water. Meanwhile, there is another creature underwater called tadpole shrimp. Most people have probably seen it. It seems that everything in the water is perfectly normal now, but the good times don't last long. As time goes by, the water level in the pond has dropped by half, but now the vitality is more active than ever before. Meanwhile, fairy shrimp and tadpole shrimp are both expecting babies. They throw off the sediment at the bottom, bury the fertilized eggs below. The next rainy season has arrived. They will hatch again. It is now day 92. The pond in the tank has completely dried up. Even the roses in the lotus tank have withered. It seems that everything has returned to the beginning. I thought the life here had already reached its end. But if you observe carefully, you will find that, on the surface of the pond, there are hundreds of fertilized eggs, waiting for the arrival of the next rainy season. By that time, life may once again flourish here, as the twin fish explore the shadows. Next time, we will launch the ocean version of the ecological tank. Take a look at the plankton in the water. What differences will there be compared to the organisms in the desert?